France is the worst of the colonizers. They came to the colonies and they wanted to convert you into Frenchmen and French women. And they were vicious. They punished you. They humiliated you. They did not want you to speak your language. The France that you see now is a France that is built on the back of those colonies. They were harsh because their very survival depended on these colonies. The French never intended to leave. As somebody once said, without Africa, there is no France. Without our former colonies, give France only 20 years, and it will be one of the poorest nations in the continent of Europe. And that is going to happen.
This is a small extract from what PLO Lumumba reveals about the hidden brutality of France's colonial legacy. His words uncover shocking truths about slavery and why France may have been the harshest colonizer of all. Let's watch the rest of the video.
France is the worst of the colonizers from all objective assessments. Of course, Samora Moises Machel said it is wrong to categorize slave makers as one being better than the other. But permit me to say that they were the worst. Number one, unlike the British, who simply were interested in your resources and therefore engaged in what was called direct rule, the French wanted to assimilate you. So their policy was assimilation. They came to the colonies and they wanted to convert you into Frenchmen and French women. And in school parades in the colonized parts of the world by the French, like Senegal, like Mali, like Burkina Faso, which was then Upper Volta, like Togo and Benin and Suriname, during the parade in the morning, pupils used to recite our ancestors, the Gauls. A black pupil saying that their ancestors were the Gauls. They wanted you to speak French. And once they had picked a few of you and took them to the Sorbonne, you had to be a total Frenchman or a total French woman. They came to different parts of the world and they created what they call the Petit Paris, the small Paris. And their colonies were actually called overseas territories, les territoires d'outre-mer. They called them overseas territories being administered from the metropole. The French never intended to leave. They never intended to leave Suriname. They never intended to leave Vietnam. They never intended to leave Senegal or Mali or Guinea-Conakry. And they were vicious. They punished you. They humiliated you. They did not want you to speak your language. I do not know why they were that harsh. Perhaps it's because of their history. Remember, this is a country that had kings. This is a country that had Marie Antoinette. This is a country that had King Louis XVI, and there was a time it is King Louis XIV who at one time when he was asked, and what is the state? I think that is that experience. King Louis XIV, when they were controlling France, he was asked, and what is the state? He said, l'état, c'est moi. I am the state. And when later King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette came, the French were humiliated. When the people asked where we want bread, they say, why don't they eat cake? And I think that history, that pain, when they created the revolution, I think in 1789, and they created the revolution, France was humiliated during the war by the Germans, and when therefore they became colonialists, they were visiting this pain upon the world. And as early as 1958, as recently as 1958, when they recalled Charles de Gaulle to come and take over power in 1958. Remember when Charles de Gaulle came, this was a military general. This is the height of decolonization. He used military force in order to retain the French colonies. And the colonies is what made France what is. So that the France that you see now is a France that is built on the back of those colonies. They were harsh because their very survival depended on these colonies. And their harshness can be seen when on the eve of independence in African countries, they signed the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. The yes-no vote for French colonies to decide whether after so-called independence they would retain connection and connectivity with Paris They gave everybody the opportunity to vote yes or no, but they did not want you to vote no. So that when Guinea voted no under Ahmed Sékou Touré, when they were leaving, they destroyed everything that was capable of being destroyed. Modibo Keïta, in what was then the French Sudan, now Mali, they destroyed everything. Algeria, the pogrom in Algeria, when they were leaving, then led by Ahmed Ben Bella, they destroyed everything. The other countries, they continue to control. As we speak, the currencies of all former French colonies are still printed in France, CFA franc. Their cruelty, I think, comes out of a big psychological burden, which they visit, transfer of aggression. It is painful. You can see even as we speak during the coup d'etats in Africa, the arrogance. You tell a country which is equal in international law that we have accredited our ambassador, we do not care. France, the home of revolution, the home of coup d'etats at one time, cannot recognize a revolution when it's taking place, and they say, accept our ambassador. We don't accept the revolution. That is France for you. Arrogance. The most arrogant of the colonial powers. You know, the history of France is the history of how the arrogance fall. Is, if you allow me, the school bully who takes lunch from every little boy and little girl thinks that he is invincible. Then one day, the little boy says, today you are not taking my lunch. And what the little boy does is to hit you when you did not expect. And you find yourself on the ground and everybody is laughing at you. France did not see what is happening in West Africa coming. So they find themselves at a time when they are very weak economically, when at home the population of immigrants is growing bigger and bigger. You go to cities such as Marseille, you find Algerians, you find Moroccans, you find Senegalese, you find Guineans, you find Burkinabe, and things are not happening as they used to be. Then, in the former colonies that you thought you are controlling, a breed of young men and women begin rising. They rise in Guinea-Conakry, and the first thing they do is they say, we abolish all the agreements that exist between us and France. They rise in Burkina Faso and they say the same thing. They rise in Mali and they say the same thing. They rise in Niger, which has been providing you with uranium. Now you can't take it. I think they cannot take it because they are losing food which has been inside of their mouth. And they do not know how to behave. As somebody once said, without Africa, there is no France. Without our former colonies, give France only 20 years, and it will be one of the poorest nations in the continent of Europe. And that is going to happen. And they are resisting because for them this is life and death. But the stars, which I can now perfectly read, are telling me that their goose is cooked and very well cooked.
Do you agree with PLO Lumumba that France was the worst of the colonizers? Or do you see it differently? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this video eye-opening, please consider supporting us with a like and subscribing to the channel. It's completely free, but it makes a big difference in helping us keep this content coming. And don't stop here, check out the next video. I think you're really going to enjoy it.